I just want to do a short video about knife tangs. This is a question and comments that I get a lot about the different styles of knife tangs. This is a hidden tang, what some people call a push tang. And basically, this is going to go inside your handle, a solid handle, like a piece of stag. And it's going to be hidden inside the handle. And you can see about how far this one, I've left a little notch here for a guard, but you can see about how far this one's going to go into the handle. You'll also notice I've drilled a hole in it here, and I will put a pin all the way through the handle, through that hole in the tang, and that's going to guarantee that this handle cannot come off this way. Also, I'll fill the hole that I drilled. I'll drill a hole that's where it's a pretty snug fit on this tang, and then I'll fill it. Some people use epoxy. I happen to use something called acroglass, which is a bedding compound, like they use it to bed rifle barrels into the gun stock. Very solid, very dependable, works very well in an application like this. Similar to the hidden tang or the push tang is the through tang. And as you can see, this is very similar. It's a narrow tang, but the idea here is it's going to go entirely through the handle and stick out the other end. And then I would put a cap on it, something like that. You can see I've got a piece of threaded rod on the end. So when you screw your cap on the end, that holds the handle up on the knife, and again, it can't come off. And finally, there's the full tang, as you can see on this huge Bowie knife that I'm making. But again, this is a solid full tang, and in this case you would use handle scales or slabs, or what they call scales, and they're going to attach to either side of the tang. And you see the holes drilled in it, so you're just going to run pins all the way through both handle scales and the tang. Obviously, yes, this is going to be a stronger handle. Get all this steel here. And sometimes on a big knife like this, the extra steel, the extra weight will help balance it out. It's going to be such a big blade, it's going to be blade heavy anyway, so you put a little more weight on the back. But we're talking about strength. It's a question I always get. People think a hidden tang knife won't be strong enough. And that's really not true. I mean, knives have been made this way for hundreds of years. And you still see old Bill Skagel and Bo Randall knives around that were made this way. They've held up for 100 years. They work fine. They didn't break. And the thing you got to remember is it's not just this little piece of steel. Here I've got about some 5/32 inch thick steel, and a little over 1/4 inch wide here maybe. Yeah, that's not as much steel as this is. Technically, yeah, it's not as strong, but you can't break this, you can't bend this by itself. Now, you put that inside the handle and you fill it with acroglass or something, that tang becomes part of this. They strengthen each other. So in order to break it, you not only got to break the tang, you're going to have to break this and the acroglass or epoxy or whatever else is in there. It's strong. You're not going to break this under, unless you're really abusing it and trying to break it, and I'm not sure you could even then. So, I mean, think about it. How often have you seen a knife blade break off of a handle? I've seen a couple on some really cheap-made Chinese knives, but, on a well-made, properly made knife, yes, this is going to be a little stronger, or be a lot stronger, but this is strong enough. You're not going to break either one of them. So don't worry about it so much. I mean, really, this is a fine design. The through tang works just fine, and the full tang, for people that want it, fine. And there are some reasons to use it. And things like I can do some file work along this spine that'll show between the handle scales. It adds extra weight back here where you really need it on a blade this large. You need some weight in the back to balance it. But a hidden tang, push tang knife works just fine. Mike Carter, Carter Custom Knives. Thanks for watching.